The next Vanguard in Anime Vanguards update 9.5 that's going to be coming, which is actually going to be the Fall Vanguard. That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. By the way guys, just so you guys know, our goal is to eventually get to 100k subscribers, and this is impossible without your support. And the only way we can even get close to this is if you hit that like and subscribe button right now. And if we get to 70k subscribers, as a way of saying thank you, I will be doing a giveaway. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get this video started. Alright, so first I wanted to discuss what actually makes a Vanguard, because that's pretty important, right? When discussing the Vanguard, well, there's very specific conditions for a Vanguard or for a unit or anime character to become a Vanguard here in Anime Vanguards. And the number one is actually hype, right? If a character has a lot of hype, and if a character is very well known and has a lot of hype, chances are it could potentially be a Vanguard. Number two, is it a really overpowered character? Is it a really powerful character? Take a look at the Vanguards we have right now. We have Diavolo, right? We have Gogeta. We have Sung Jin Woo. We have Kaguya. We have Escanor, and we have Broly. All of these characters are extremely overpowered in their own right and will beat your favorite anime character. That's actually the second category. Do they beat your favorite anime character? And if the answer is yes, then they most likely can be a Vanguard. So if they meet those two criteria, then the chances of them being a Vanguard is actually very high. So now that there is most likely going to be a new Vanguard coming in Anime Vanguards Update 9.5, we are going to talk about who it could potentially be. That's basically because, it's a very hype character, and, we all want to know who the next Vanguard character is. So let's actually kind of talk about who it is and who we want it to be. And number one, the most potential and the most liked character, most of us kind of want to be the Vanguard is none other than Luffy, right? A lot of people want Luffy to be the Vanguard character. A lot of people want Luffy to become the Banner Vanguard. What do I think about Luffy as a Banner Vanguard? I think it's a pretty hype decision. If they add Luffy as a Banner Vanguard, he will be a pretty good choice, in my opinion. Some people will dislike this choice, but the reason why I think Luffy as a Banner Vanguard will be a pretty good choice is mainly because Luffy is actually really hype, right? Luffy is an incredibly hype character that we really need right now in Anime Vanguard, especially because of the streak of bad luck that AB has, right? Update 9 took very long, and right now Update 9.5 gonna be releasing in a bit, but we do need, in my opinion, a very hype character to be the Vanguard. It can't just be another random, character, and they should just focus on very hype characters for Vanguards. So Luffy is a very great choice. Does Luffy beat your favorite anime character? Probably not, but Luffy is still a pretty strong character regardless. He's very strong in his verse, so that's probably, he meets the criteria. Another potential one is a character like Anos. I don't think we have Anos yet here in Anime Vanguards. We do have Smith John, or Sid. We do have him, but he's not Anos, right? He's not Anos. And Anos is a very hype character, very strong character, and he kind of does match the fall theme as well, the fall Halloween theme as well. So I think Anos could be a really great Vanguard if they ever want him to become a Banner Vanguard. I think he could potentially meet the criteria. Does Anos beat your favorite character? 90% chance he does, right? Does Anos have a lot of hype and popularity? Now, his anime isn't really big, but us in the anime community know Anos as a very powerful character. We know Anos as a very strong, very powerful, very imposing figure. So for that reason alone, I think Anos actually matches the criterias for what could potentially be the Banner Vanguard, right? Alright, so let's move on to the third potential option. And the third potential option, in my opinion, is Arima or Eto. So these characters are actually really interesting. Now, I mentioned in the beginning that the character needs to have a lot of hype. That's actually not really the only category. That's not really the only, thing that they're looking at. The character also has to be strong in their verse, right? It doesn't just have to be a strong character, that can beat your favorite character. It has to be a strong character in their specific universe. So for example, Arima is without a doubt the character in most fiction that actually represents the strongest. Arima is literally untouchable in Tokyo Ghoul. At Arima's prime, there's barely anyone that could beat him. I know ball, chat. I know ball. There's barely anyone that could beat Arima in his prime. That's why they had to kill him off. And he literally had to let Kaneki kill him because he was too OP. So Arima actually kind of matches what a good Vanguard could be. And Arima also has his Quinkies, right? His Quinke, whatever it is, right? He also has, his weapons. And that could potentially be fitting for the third category, which is the third category is actually how unique can they make these characters, right? How many weapons do they have? If they have a lot of weapons, they could make good passives with those. How deep can they make their moveset? How unique can they make their moveset? That's one of the reasons why Kaguya was chosen, because Kaguya has a lot of unique movesets, the dimensions, right? Arima could also be something like that because he has his Quinkes, or his weapons. I gotta stop saying Quinke, right? Yeah, his weapons. Okay, he has a lot of his weapons that could potentially be really, really good for passives. But yeah, those are some pretty good picks, to be honest. But still, these are just picks. It could be 100% different. It could be some random character that I cannot predict. Let's move on though to a separate conversation that I wanted to discuss, which is the conversation of Quest Vanguards. Now let's move past Anime Vanguards Update 9.5 and let's actually take a look at some other Vanguard characters, Quest Vanguards now, that we want to see. Alright, for Quest Vanguards, there is really one character that stands above the rest that we always wanted to see, and that is Sukuna. Right, Sukuna, as you guys can see right now, is DMCA, and you can't even really see his model because of the DMCA. And that's really sad. But the thing here, since they are now going to be using original models for JJK characters, the original reason why we didn't have the Sukuna Quest Vanguard, that turns him into the high-end era, was because of DMCA. But now, since we're gonna have original models, Sukuna can actually get a Vanguard quest. I know it's now very unlikely because he got a very powerful familiar, but maybe several years down the line, Sukuna could potentially get his Vanguard, quest, which will turn him into a really OP character, especially down the road when he becomes weak again, which is probably several updates from now. Take a look at some models right here. By the way, shout out to LC on X. His Sukuna model actually looks really nice. So yeah, it's pretty cool that we can now finally get characters like him. But another pretty interesting Quest Vanguard is Ichigo, right? The problem with Ichigo is his form is already the max. They gave him the Horn of Salvation form, which is actually very weird why they decided to give this guy the Horn of Salvation. But they could just give him his other form, the one that used against Aizen. They could easily give that to him. But yeah, and make that his Quest Vanguard form. Very unlikely, but still a potential thing that they could do for a Quest Vanguard, mainly because this character really just does have a lot of hype, and that is one of the main categories that they're looking at. Anyways, that's really it for today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and peace out, everybody.